Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Julia's Shakin' and Bacon. And in today's episode, we are going to make chicken and noodles. Noodles from scratch, fresh made, with the broth we made in last episode. And I'm even going to show you how to recover a recipe if you make a mistake, or you try to stretch a recipe on camera live while you're making them. And how to make sure that they don't turn to mush when you're boiling them after doing all that work. So stay tuned and see how things turn out. This is another great recipe in the series of the $200 challenge for 2 people for 1 month. Can we meet the budget? So I'll admit, when I was recording this episode, I was actually feeling a little discouraged because of my Parkinson's. And I wasn't even sure I could still make noodles or have the stamina to spend all the time it takes, because they're actually really easy to make, but it does take some time and patience, and sometimes a little bit of delicate techniques with your hands that sometimes I just don't have the confidence that I can do it. But it turned out great. So stay tuned and see how it turned out. Chicken and noodles, a great comfort food, and remind us all of Grandma. Okay, we're ready to get started making the dough. Now this dough is pretty simple. You just need 4 large eggs, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And that's all that's in there. So we've got the eggs cracked and in the bowl. We're going to add the olive oil to the eggs. Did I say 2 or 3 tablespoons? 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We'll set that aside. And then we're going to get 3 cups of flour. And when you're doing flour, it always makes a mess, but that's okay because we're going to actually add flour to our countertop. But you don't want to pack your flour in, and you want to level it off with a knife like that. So we're going to add 3 cups of flour. And then once you have all 3 cups of flour in the food processor, you're going to measure out 1/2 cup of flour. This one doesn't have to be perfectly measured out because we're just going to add some in case the dough needs it. Okay, now simply add in the egg and olive oil mixture. And process. All right, I have a confession to make. I was actually trying to change the recipe just a little bit and not testing this ahead of time. I assumed I was right, but I think I'm actually going to need add another egg and a little bit more oil, because this is, look at how really crumbly this is. So it's not making a dough. The recipe is actually supposed to be just 2.5 cups of flour. So 2 cups of flour with 2 teaspoons of olive oil and 4 eggs. So I was trying to stretch my recipe a little bit. So we'll see if we can remedy this. Okay, so we'll just try doing 1 egg and see how that works. So we definitely have a more dough-like consistency, but it's still very crumbly. So I think I'm going to add 1 more egg in. Okay, that's much better. Definitely not going to need this extra flour. We'll move to the next step. Okay, so now I have my mixer attachment set up with a dough roller on it. So I'm not going to be like my grandma and just do this with the rolling pin. It'll definitely make this a lot easier on myself. And the dough's been resting under here. We're just going to take a pinch of dough off. It does feel pretty sticky and wet. So it's definitely gonna need more flour. Put the rest into the bowl so it doesn't dry out. And I put my roller, the narrowness of the blades on the widest setting to start with, and we're basically going to knead the dough some more with the machine. You just start passing it through, and then I fold it over, pass it through, and I've got flour up here on my roller. Pass it through, fold it over, pass it through. We'll do this several times. And I'm going to shut this off. And I'm going to change to the 3. Add flour to the dough. The texture of the dough is actually really nice. So it's going to turn out fine, even though I tried to wreck it. And that should be enough, and that's what it looks like. I'm just going to add flour to it. Now I'm going to take it over and lay it out. Okay, so I wanted to show you when the dough starts tearing like this, that means that it needs a little bit more flour. So really all you want to do is just tamp it down just a little bit and put a little bit more flour on each side. I'm going to turn this back on. And we put the dough through. And start putting it through again. And just keep folding it over until most of the flour gets incorporated, and then it has a nice smooth texture like you would expect a noodle to look. So now it looks more like that. And that's how you want it to turn out. Okay. Okay, so I've got some parchment paper and cookie sheets laid out with flour in them to help keep it from sticking. And I'm just going to do several of these, and then we will cut them. Okay, now I'm just going to cut these by hand. Then what I'll do is I'll let them dry, and then I can put them away until it's time to make the noodles. I did it. I got the noodles made. The kitchen is trashed though. Got flour everywhere, even down on the floor. Dirty dishes. But look at all the noodles. I even got them cut myself fairly evenly, if I do say so myself. Some of them are a little janky, but looks good. And then after the noodles are dry, I like to make sure they're broken up. Sometimes they don't quite get cut all the way through. This will help when I cook them because we don't want them to stick together in a big old clump. And since I'm going to cook them right away, then I'm just going to leave them on this pan. But otherwise I would put them in a plastic bag or just any kind of container and store them in the refrigerator. Okay, now it's time to actually get started making the chicken and noodles. So first we're going to start off with heating up the broth. We're going to put in 8 cups of the stock that I made the other day. Okay, and then we'll get that started heating up. And then while that's heating up, we're going to get the chicken started in the Instapot. So for this part, we've done a 12-hour chicken stock that we've made. We've made egg noodles from scratch But we ate all of the chicken from the roasted chicken when I made the chicken stock. Chicken, how many times can I say chicken? Maybe you can make a drinking game out of this. Chicken, chicken, chicken. Okay, so we ate all the chicken, so I need to make some more chicken. I need to make some more chicken for the chicken and noodles. So let's get started with that. Anyway, okay, I totally lost my train of thought. So we need to make more chicken for the chicken and noodles, and I'm just gonna make it in the Instapot because I do want it to be like a nice shredded chicken, and I'm really getting pretty worn out on since I made the fresh noodles. So let's just make the chicken in the Instapot. So I've got about 2 pounds of chicken that I'm going to put in. Then we're putting in a bay leaf and about half tablespoon of peppercorns, about an 1/8 teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon of ground thyme, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of ground sage. My measuring spoons are in the dishwasher. So for myself, I'm kind of estimating that that's what the measurement is for you. And then some parsley flakes. It's about a 1/2 teaspoon. Then we're going to put in 8 cups of water. Turn on the old Instapot. And we're going to pressure cook for about 12 minutes. And we'll wait for both the water to come to a boil, but also then the chicken to be ready. And I'm going to take another break. Alright, so the first thing is we're going to pull the chicken out of the liquid. It should be hot off here, no sense in keeping warm. Last piece of chicken. Liquid into our pot. Got some stuff that needs filtered out of there. I'll do that off camera. I had a few impurities I needed to strain out, so I just got my pitcher back out and strained off those impurities. That way my broth is nice and clear. We'll put this in here. And we'll put the lid on, and this is pretty hot, but we want a rolling boil so that we can cook our noodles. And waiting on that to boil, we'll go ahead and pull the chicken. Just use 2 forks. You always want to taste some. Yeah, that's good. Okay, our broth is now boiling. So I'm going to start cooking the noodles. And I'm going to put in just a little at a time, maybe a handful, because we don't want it to stop boiling. I'll put it in. Also, I want to make sure that I've got the right ratio of noodles to broth. Okay, looks like you got a little light on the boil there. We'll give it a stir. And you don't worry about the flour that's on your fresh noodles. That actually will help thicken the broth. Okay, let it come back to temperature. So come back to boiling again. You can turn it up high. Back to boil. noticed this earlier, but I forgot to put salt in. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, stir again. I almost have all the noodles in. Okay, we'll let those cook for about 5 minutes. And I forgot to taste. I always gotta taste stuff. Steam it up with glasses. Oh yeah, that's good. Give it a stir. And since I only make these noodles for like total special occasions, it's too much pain in the rear to do. And the rest of the year is I like to go ahead and test my noodles while they're cooking because I don't remember what, exactly what I'm doing. Okay, that definitely needs more time. So, and guess what? I forgot to turn on the timer. So let's put it on for 2 minutes. We'll see where we're at. Okay, let's check the noodles again. All right, getting closer. Needs a couple more minutes. Okay, so I ended up cooking my noodles for a total time of about 10 minutes. Now we're going to add the chicken in. Of course, this might be better to have Craig do this for me, but I think I can do it. My hand is kind of freezing and not the best control over a boiling pot of water. Got it in just really slow and awkward. I'm gonna give that a stir. Yeah, that's looking really great. It's also starting to thicken up too. And these noodles will drink some of this liquid as well. Okay, so this is all ready to go for the party tomorrow. And I might, so I'm just gonna turn the heat off and put it in the refrigerator. And I might take some back out tonight to make some for Craig and I for dinner. Now when Craig and I have it, we actually like to add a lot of vegetables in. Celery, carrots, depends on what we're feeling like, maybe mushrooms, and then that just kind of adds some vegetables to the dish and a little bit of extra nutrition. And I try to say that it's less calories that way, but it also does really stretch the recipe out and make it last just a little bit longer. Plus, it's packed with flavor, packed with flavor. So I'm going to do a final taste test. I did add a little extra salt in off camera. Forgot to turn it on for you. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, yeah, that's getting really good. Serve it over mashed potatoes. Oh, what? Is that the ending? Okay. Where's your ending, Julia? And where's the photo of the final product? That's right, I forgot to take a picture of the noodles done. They tasted good. So thanks for joining us today. And if you liked everything you saw, give me a like, subscribe, and make a comment. Tell me what you thought. Oh, and hit that bell for future notifications. Thank you. See you next time on Julia's Shakin' and Bacon.